Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Burnt Coverage, Week 4 edition. I'm your host, Joel.
And I'm Curtis.
And we are your go-to source for daily and weekly fantasy play. Primarily the big boys is what we deal with here. FanDuel and DraftKings being the two big ones. So, how do you feel after 3 weeks?
Pretty good. You know, I've had some hits, had some misses, some laughing, some crying. I have Roethlisberger in my standard league.
Oh, yeah, that hurts.
That hurts. A moment of silence.
It's a lot of injuries this year. Really, really intense.
Yeah, you can check out our page. I posted an article about how many injuries there are. And there'll be more, so cross your fingers that your big play this week doesn't have that issue.
I will have to check out the page because I did not know that.
Yeah, please check out our page, Burnt Coverage, Facebook, and Burnt. Please.
Yeah, and the Twitter at burnt_coverage. Tweet us anything you like, preferably football related. But
yes.
Hey, whatever.
No dick pics. And speaking of dick pics, I'll start with ambiance.
So the crew is here.
Speaking of injuries, there's Roethlisberger being carted off. Or Vic. We're filming on Thursday night. Vic just got taken off the field. No, I'd like to start with quarterbacks, if I may.
Go for it.
Great. A quarterback that I really like this week is Andy Dalton. I know, it hurts me to say that I like Andy Dalton in any format ever, but I'm going to choose him this week. And, you know, a lot of people will say it's the case of last week's hero.
I'll say that.
And Joel would say that. But Andy Dalton has a lot of things going for him. First of which are his prices. Only $5,900 in DraftKings and $7,600 in FanDuel. He's playing the worst pass defense in the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs, this week. And he's playing them at home in Cincinnati. As most of us saw, if you managed to stay up and watch the entire Monday night game, Aaron Rodgers just completely destroyed Kansas City last week for 5 touchdowns. Andy Dalton is no Aaron Rodgers, but I think it doesn't stop just with Aaron Rodgers. I think Andy Dalton puts up a great performance against this terrible pass defense. First of all, he has A.J. Green, who is a monster, 200-yard gain last week, so that helps. He also has Marvin Jones, his second receiver, back. He still has Sanu and Giovanni Bernard, who can do damage in the pass game as well. Andy Dalton surprisingly posts an 8-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio so far through this early part of the season. And he's always tripled his price. So at $5,900, I think he's at least a high floor guy, if not a high ceiling guy, as we saw last week with the amount of points he put up. He's always better at home than on the road. And the best part about playing Andy Dalton this week is he's not in prime time. Andy Dalton is terrible in prime time. He's never put on a good game when everyone's watching. It's Monday night. Even if it's the highlighted 4 o'clock game, he just struggles. This week, it's just a plain old 1 o'clock game against Kansas City. So I think Andy Dalton covers well his price and might be one of the studs this week as he was last week.
I don't know. Andy Dalton and stud should never be used in the same sentence. It's true he's no Aaron Rodgers, and Kansas City's defense was good. Was decent, a decent defense up until that Green Bay game. It was a career game out of AJ Green that made Andy Dalton's day salvageable at that point.
I don't know. Kansas City just hasn't looked good at all. I know they got Eric Berry back, and they're happy about that,
yes.
but nothing's really come of that. And last game, they lost their second corner, and they had to play their nickel corner on Cobb, and then that hurt them. Hopefully he's back. I forget his name off the top of my head. But who cares? You're 32nd in the league, and there are some terrible defenses in the league. And Kansas City, who is right now a perennial playoff team.
They are.
Still just struggling against the
pass. I don't know. I'm well documented in my hatred for Andy Dalton as a quarterback. AJ Green is an amazing receiver. I just think he's stuck in Cincinnati, and he's very cheap this week, and he is much better at home. Most quarterbacks are much better at home. But you're gonna stand alone on that island this week. I can't go with you.
And I understand it's hard to root for Andy Dalton, and this might be a reason you play him. People aren't believers, and he's been solid all year. Hopefully he's got one more game in him. Also, if this game were in Arrowhead, I would not be playing him. But the fact that he's at home, he's confident, he's coming off a good game, I like him this
All
week.
the more reason that he'll crash and burn and have a terrible game, and that will be your worst call of the week. I'm on record right now saying that.
Well, I can't wait to hear your pick, Joel, so I can
Let
make
me
him
start
crash
the
and
show with the
burn.
worst pick of the week. So I'm going to start off with a much better quarterback. I'm going to go Cam Newton. Going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's fresh off 315 yards passing, 2 TDs, and 33 yards rushing against a terrible, again, another terrible defense in the NFL, a terrible New Orleans defense. But do you know what's worse than the terrible New Orleans Saints defense? That's right, say it with me, kids. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. Absolutely no pass rush is going to go on for Cam Newton. And the only thing that can rattle Cam Newton is a pass rush. But I was down on Cam in the beginning of the season, in the preseason after the Kelvin Benjamin injury. I was wrong, and I really now am wanting to cash in on the resurgence of Cam. Their Panthers are all 3-0. They're off to their best start in 12 years. You know, last time they were 3-0, what happened? They went to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying they're Super Bowl bound this year, but I really thought that this team was going to be a rushing team. I am wrong. Cam Newton at the cheap, he's moderately priced, $8,300 on FanDuel, going for $7,000 on DraftKings. I'm all in against Tampa Bay Bucks.
I don't know. For me, Cam Newton's a little too young to get my call this week.
Heyo!
I don't know if I can play him.
If you got that, you can continue watching.
Thank you. I'm a Bucks fan. If you've seen the show, and I love Cam. I'm a closet Cam fan. The only reason I'm not a bigger Cam fan is because he's in the Bucks division. However, if I am going to say anything against him, it's the fact that the Bucks do put up a fight at home in their division. They did beat the Saints this year. I know the Saints are no great team, but they do put up somewhat of a fight. I wouldn't be surprised to see. I'm not going to play Jonathan Stewart this week, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him doing well this week, and then leaning a little more on the running game. But yeah, I can't argue that Cam's a terrible play. However, his price is a little high. I feel like for a little more or a lot less, you can get somebody that has the same floor.
I don't know. If I can get 300 yards passing out of Cam Newton with the rushing attack, and I don't know, if Gerald McCoy doesn't play this week, then I'm going to be even higher on Cam. I've missed the last 2 weeks cashing in on Cam. I'm not going to miss week 4.
He does have one receiver, and that's his tight end, Greg Olsen.
Indeed.
But that's one receiver. There's not a lot for him to.
They're 3-0 with one receiver.
I guess. For my money, I think he's a little pricey. But to be fair, I did consider him at least. But
You're right. You're much better off with Andy Dalton.
We're in the middle of a Bucks renaissance. Just you wait and see. Don't tell anybody you heard it here first. Okay?
Next,
I'm going to go with a fairly obvious pick, but I'm going to explain why it's a great pick as well, and that's Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, as anyone saw, just completely destroyed the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football. 5 touchdowns. And it was only late in the game where there were any issues at all. Check out our article on the Burnt Coverage Facebook page about how Pro Football Focus gave him a negative grade for that game. I don't know how that happens really, but they did. You're seeing a quarterback in his prime who arguably might be the greatest quarterback we've ever seen play. I know it's still early in his career.
Those are strong words.
But we have
some fighting words right there.
MVP quarterback, championship quarterback, in his prime, mobile, accurate targets, losing his number 1 wide receiver and still putting up numbers like a 10-0 touchdown to interception ratio. Guy's good. You can't argue it.
No, the guy's great. The guy is amazing. But again, back to quarterback playing at home. It's the Lambeau factor. Like, he hasn't thrown an interception in Lambeau, and I don't even have that stat. But I know it's a number of games. And Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the league, hands down. But I was down on them once they lost Jordy. But yeah, what he's doing now is unprecedented. It's amazing. Yeah.
And I want to go back to
worth it.
I want to go back to what you're saying about playing at home. Let's talk about playing at home. Aaron Rodgers, the Chico kid, Chico, California, the suburbs of San Francisco. And let's see, Aaron Rodgers is from the San Francisco Bay Area. He also was passed over by the San Francisco 49ers for the first pick, and they picked Alex Smith. We all know how that turned out. I think there's going to be a little bit of chip on his shoulder. So we have a quarterback in his prime, playing in his hometown. Aaron Rodgers is going to blow up. I have some other things here too. Obviously, we know the 49ers defense is terrible. They've gotten burnt by a number of quarterbacks. Carson Palmer, off the top of my head, just destroyed them as well. Roethlisberger too. And there's also a really great stack potential here. If any of you played a Rodgers-Cobb stack, I'm sure you won some money last week. I think that's a safe play here. And maybe even Rodgers-Cobb, James Jones with Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams in a walking boot this week. Even Richard Rodgers, who had a touchdown 2 weeks ago, could get a target. He's a good red zone target. I wouldn't be surprised if Aaron Rodgers continued his dominance. We saw Roethlisberger last year throw back-to-back 6 touchdown games. This could be a similar situation for Aaron Rodgers this week.
I don't know. The whole revenge factor, like, San Francisco is not the only team that passed on Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback in the draft.
But his parents are going to be there. It's San Francisco.
And he's playing in that same sandlot that he grew up playing in,
exactly.
right?
It's the Chico kid. Come on, Chico kid.
That is a weak argument.
And you heard it here first. Aaron Rodgers is good. So if you want to spend $7,900 in DraftKings or $9,200 in FanDuel on a sure bet, he's not going to throw for less than 302 touchdowns.
But that's the thing. Like, it's a good play, but it's an expensive play, and especially if you play the stack with a Cobb, it's an expensive stack. Like, when I'm looking for a stack, I'm looking for a stack that I'm going to capitalize and I can fill in the rest of my roster with. And I'll touch on that later. So I can't argue against playing Aaron Rodgers, but I think there's more value to be found.
Why don't you just touch on it right now then?
All right. Segue. So I'm going to go off on a tangent here. So my next play is Derek Carr. Derek Carr, second-year player, very unheralded second player coming into this season. But let's go over some stats. 2 straight weeks of over 300 yards and at least 2 touchdowns. He's completing 63% of his passes. And who's he playing? The Chicago Bears. Chicago's giving up a league-high 35 points per game. Chicago's also in fire sale mode for some reason in week 3 of the season, having just traded their leading tackler and pass rusher Jared Allen and linebacker Jonathan Bostic. Vegas sets the over-under at 44.5. That equals fantasy goodness. Derek Carr is going for $7,000 on FanDuel. And now I have a little issue with DraftKings. DraftKings is setting the price for Derek Carr, 2 300-yard games, and the early favorite for Rookie of the Year in the wide receiver of Amari Cooper at $5,300. $5,300 on DraftKings. You know who else is going for $5,300 on DraftKings? RG3. RG3 is not a starting quarterback in the league. RG3 is going for $5,300. For $5,300, give me Derek Carr 8 days a week. Cash in, make the money. Derek Carr, more to come on that.
Can't argue with Derek Carr, honestly. Someone I'll be playing for sure. We don't always disagree.
Not on camera.
Not on camera. Derek Carr is a phenomenal talent. I think he's proven himself. Each week it looks like he's gotten better. He really is that quarterback. And he's got a guy in Amari Cooper who I think you're going to hear from one of us talk about in a later segment who could have a big game this week.
And I think the thing that helps Derek Carr is that their defense is absolutely terrible.
Mm-hmm.
They have nothing to offer on defense.
The Raiders defense.
Yeah, the Raiders. But so now they have offensive weapons around a young up and coming quarterback with an arm. And so that just leads to really high fantasy totals. And I just can't understand what DraftKings is thinking, setting that price that low. I understand that it's an early release, but come on now. At the same price as RG3. RG3 is not going to get a snap this week.
Sure, well, knock on wood for the Redskins' sake. He's not going to snap this week.
Until the Eagles are up by 40 points.
I think even then it's Colt McCoy. Oh, by the way, don't play Colt McCoy. Or for that matter, Kirk Cousins.
Colt McCoy's price right now.
If you're even considering Colt McCoy, you should probably be doing something else this weekend. And I think that's it for our quarterbacks.
All right. Quarterbacks.
Thanks for watching this segment of Bird Coverage. I'm Curtis.
And I'm Joel. Stay tuned for another segment.
And please make sure to check us out on Facebook, Bird Coverage, Twitter, Bird_coverage.
Yep.
And we also stream this on YouTube. So check us out.
Yep. See you next week on the couch.
See you.